Everyone, Booba Blabs. I don't know if I'm gonna post this. Right now it is currently 2:22 a.m. in the middle of the night. I am awake with my girlfriend. Um and I wanted to talk about being 20 years old. You see, me and my girlfriend just watched a video or just watched a movie actually called Nightcrawler. It's about this guy named like Lou some shit, and he goes around and he does a lot of very questionable things in order to get higher in the scale of whatever career he's trying to do, which is being like a videographer for a news company. And he's like a psychopath, a sociopath. And I've heard of Nightcrawler before. A lot of people recommend it, a lot of people talk about it. And in watching it, I enjoyed it. It was a pretty good movie. But just now, as I was thinking of ideas for videos that I wanted to do and stuff, I had a thought. See, this is a little bit of a spoiler for the movie, but in Nightcrawler, there comes a time where something really, really drastic happens. You see, this Lou guy, as I said before, is very, very not good of a person, and he happens to come across a three-way or a three-person homicide in a like a building, and he goes around, he starts recording and whatever it may be, and this is kind of like the very uh the very critical point for both the movie and the character. um like very much like the rising action and hearing, getting at the climax of it and seeing how it goes from there. Well, I would argue the climax is really the car scene, but either way, he talks with this one guy. He's kind of manipulating his kind of person that he hired to help him out. I think his name is Rick. And he talks about a critical moment, or the critical moment, and he emphasizes how important this critical moment is. And for the most part, within the confines of the movie, he's correct. He's at the point where the ball is really in his hands. He has this really crazy story with this really crazy footage, and he now has a plan in which could elevate him, bring him up to that real like next level. And it makes me think about my age, you know, and how I feel like at 20 years old, I'm at that point where I am at the that critical moment. And I wonder if other people feel that same exact way. And that's kind of what I wanted to yap about a little bit, just to check if I'm still recording. But I was told a story and I heard stories about people many years ago when it came to Bitcoin, and how a lot of these people who had Bitcoin, I heard stories about them selling it, thinking that it was nothing, or them pushing it to the side, or whatever it may be, and then later on realizing the millions and millions of dollars they lost. Or about these stories with athletes, where they're at the height of their career and then something really bad happens to them, like a severe injury of some kind or whatever it may be. Or just like the little foreshadowing and hints that we get on our day-to-day life, where we think something will be nothing and then later on, it turns out to be a big thing. And I think that that kind of encapsulates how I feel at this age right now. I don't know whether or not it's like a personal thing or other people are feeling the same thing as well. You guys can let me know. But being 20 feels like you're at that critical point where a lot of things can matter, and a lot of things, or the things that you do now, will matter later on in life. But you're at the point where you're kind of at that mixed age in the way that other people view you. See, you are an adult. You're no longer a teen per se, no longer any of that. You're a big 20. And the next year, you're able to, drink. For me, it's the next month, happy early birthday to me. But you're expected to be able to drink. You're able to do all these other things and blah, 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 blah. Like, you are truly expected to be an adult, or at least for the first time, the kind of test run before being an adult. And it's kind of like there's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of weight on your shoulders. Sometimes it can feel like a mountain, you know, where you don't know whether or not something that you do right now is going to affect you in the long run, and you don't know if you're doing enough to be able to affect you in the long run. And sometimes that feeling can be really, really like a lot. You know, it could just feel like that you're not doing enough, or you're doing too much, or you're just not in the place that you want to be. It's a very weird time. It reminds me of my the last video that I made about uh, uh, being kind of bounded by that tyranny of now. But in this case, even luxuriating in the power of yet is something you cannot do, because life is very vast, very big, very large. See, today me and my girlfriend had a conversation about peace, and I had made the claim that peace is something that is momentary. It's not everlasting. And that's why a lot of people feel like they're in such depressive states, etc., etc. How a lot of people, or I guess the expectation or want and desire for us as human beings, is to be at peace for a long, extended period of time. But oftentimes we find that that's not the case. And I would say that, like that luxuriating in the power of yet at this age can kind of feel like that, how you want to feel like you would be able to be good, but at the same time you don't know whether or not you could be good. And I wish I had another quote that can tie things all together in a nice bow and stuff, but I haven't written down any one of them. But I just wanted to say that I feel as though, I don't really know, I'm questioning myself, that it's not one of those things that you should be questioning. You should probably just be doing. You know, I think that a lot of times in life, and a lot of people, places, things, they teach you to question, whether it be school, whether it be your parents, whether it be anything for that matter. It always teaches you to question, and you're never taught to be, never taught to actually like just do stuff and figure out what happens. Now, I am not advocating for nonsense here. Okay, I'm not telling you to go out and do some bullshit. I did have no part in it. I don't want any of you guys to get in trouble or some shit. Be like, oh man, that guy on the internet, he always wear a bonnet. He telling me to do that shit. No, I'm not that guy. Okay, I'm telling you for now that you should do, in the sense of, stop worrying about everything that your life is going to become. You know, stop thinking about what the future may hold, in the sense of like, if you're doing enough now, if you're doing blah 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 blah. Of course there should be a level where you are thinking about your future, because I think that's just smarter. But at the same time, you should also be experiencing. And I think that in life, it's important to experience. See, Brian Cranston, Walter White himself, I remember seeing an interview of him, and he was talking about how he believes that everybody should take a gap year after high school and go explore life and realize what you want to do. And I think that's something that's a piece of advice that a lot of people should take, not even for just leaving university, but for just day to day life in general. You should go out and experience. You should go out and be able to feel a lot of things: heartbreak, love, fear, regret, happiness, everything. And then the times, or what you're going to get in life, is going to eventually come. And that's my final kind of draw that I wanted to say today. It reminds me of my modern history teacher back in high school named Mr. Schaefer. And he had said something about how wherever you want to go, you will be. And of course, that's a line from a teacher, so it must be bullshit. But at the same time, it really stuck in my brain. You know, if you really want to be something, you will be that thing. And I think that it gave me a level of kind of peace at the time. It makes me think that I'm so worried about what I will try to become and doing all these other things, and not realizing that in living my life and desiring to be that thing and working towards getting that thing, you'll eventually reach it. And it allows you to stop worrying about the future and stop worrying about being in that critical moment and being able to just live your life and enjoy. And that's all I have to say. I'll see you guys. I appreciate you for watching. Thank you.